Have you ever felt overwhelmed by anger, anxiety, or sadness? Does it seem like your emotions are in control more than you are? It's a common struggle, but imagine if you had the tools to master those turbulent feelings. Well, you don't have to imagine anymore. In this video, we're uncovering 8 Stoic strategies that can help you take command of your emotions, ensuring they enhance rather than disrupt your life. These aren't just theories. They are practical techniques used by the Stoics of ancient times, which are still highly effective in our modern world. Make sure to watch till the end, where we'll reveal a strategy that ties them all together, equipping you with the ultimate tool for emotional resilience. Objective judgment. The first strategy in our Stoic toolkit is about seeing things for what they are, stripped of any bias or preconceived notions. The Stoics believe that our emotions are often not a direct result of events, but rather of the judgments we make about those events. So, how do we apply objective judgment practically? Let's start with a common scenario. You've just been criticized at work. Your initial reaction might be anger or defensiveness. However, objective judgment requires you to step back and assess the criticism with impartiality. Ask yourself, is there truth to it? Can it help me grow? By doing this, you shift from an emotional to a rational response. Another example could be when you're stuck in traffic. You might feel the rise of frustration, the itch of impatience, but apply objective judgment. Traffic is simply a collective of cars moving slowly. It's not a personal affront. Recognize the situation for what it is, not for how it affects you emotionally. Objective judgment also means recognizing our common humanity. Say someone cuts you off in line. Instead of reacting with irritation, consider for a moment that they might be in a rush, perhaps dealing with an emergency. This doesn't excuse their behavior, but it does allow you to see the act in a neutral light, mitigating your emotional response. In essence, objective judgment is about response, not reaction. It's the difference between looking at a stormy sky and feeling an innate dread versus understanding that clouds and thunder are natural phenomena, neither good nor bad. They just are. When we view our world and our experiences through this lens, we gain emotional clarity and composure, setting the foundation for mastering the remaining Stoic strategies. Voluntary discomfort is a practice that can fortify the mind just as physical exercise strengthens the body. It's about deliberately placing yourself in uncomfortable situations to diminish the fear of hardship and to build resilience. Take, for instance, cold showers. They are initially jarring and unpleasant, but by consistently choosing to face this discomfort, you learn to endure and even embrace the sensation. The cold, which once may have seemed intolerable, becomes something you can handle with equanimity. Or consider the practice of fasting. It's not just a health trend. It's a Stoic exercise in restraint and contentment with less. When you voluntarily abstain from eating for a certain period, you not only develop discipline, but also gain a new appreciation for the meals you do have. You realize that hunger is not an emergency. It's a discomfort that you can observe and manage without becoming emotionally overwhelmed. Another example is limiting your luxury items. Use a basic phone instead of the latest model, or take public transportation instead of driving your car for a week. These practices teach you that comfort is not always necessary, and that you can be content and fulfilled without constant indulgence. Voluntary discomfort is about challenging the notion that comfort is the default state we should always strive for. Instead, it suggests that through controlled exposure to discomfort, we can expand our comfort zone and decrease the control that fear of discomfort has over us. When we practice voluntary discomfort, we're not just training ourselves to deal with future hardships, we're recalibrating our emotional responses to not be governed by the avoidance of discomfort. This strategy helps us to face life's inevitable difficulties with a prepared and resilient spirit. The dichotomy of control is a central tenet of Stoicism that distinguishes between what is in our power and what is not. By focusing on the former and letting go of the latter, we can achieve greater emotional equilibrium. For example, Consider you're a tennis player in a match. You can control your training, your focus, and your mindset, but you can't control the weather, the crowd, or the inherent skill of your opponent. By concentrating on your game, your strategy, your conditioning, your shots, you play your best tennis. If it rains or if the crowd cheers more for your opponent, these external factors don't disrupt your inner calm because you accept them as outside your control. In everyday life, this can apply to traffic, the actions of others, or global events. You can decide how you react to getting stuck in a traffic jam, but you cannot control the traffic itself. The dichotomy of control teaches us to invest our energy wisely on actions and thoughts that reflect what's within our personal sphere of influence. This strategy is empowering. It reminds us that while we cannot dictate every circumstance, we can govern our responses. We may not choose the situation, but we can choose the dignity and poise with which we face it. By applying the dichotomy of control, you free yourself from the emotional turmoil that comes from trying to control the uncontrollable. You gain clarity on where to direct your efforts, and this in itself is a profound source of peace. Embrace this concept, and you'll find your emotional state becoming more balanced and resilient in the face of life's inevitable unpredictability. Amor fati, which translates to love of fate, is a Stoic philosophy that encourages us to embrace everything that happens in life, including suffering and loss, as not only necessary but beneficial to our growth and existence. This mindset is about more than just acceptance. It's about loving and finding value in all life's experiences. Imagine facing a significant setback, like losing a job. Instead of succumbing to bitterness, Amor fati teaches you to perceive this event as an opportunity for a new beginning, a chance to grow and pivot towards something that could be more fulfilling. You learn to love this twist of fate because it's part of your unique life story. Another example could be dealing with illness. Rather than feeling anger or self-pity, Amor fati would have you look for the hidden gifts within this challenge. Perhaps it's a deeper appreciation for life, the opportunity to rest and reflect, or the strengthening of relationships as loved ones come forward to offer support. This does not mean seeking out suffering or passively resigning yourself to misfortune. Instead, it's about a radical reframe of your mindset. By loving your fate, you take what could be perceived as negative and reorient it to be a source of strength and joy. In practice, Amor fati is a powerful tool for emotional resilience. It allows you to sail through the unpredictable seas of life with grace and courage. When you truly love your fate, you create an inner fortress so strong that nothing can disturb your peace of mind. This approach doesn't change the external world, but it profoundly transforms your experience of it, turning every moment into an ally on your path through life. The practice of mindful reflection in Stoicism is about introspection and awareness, about examining one's thoughts, emotions, and actions without judgment to learn from them and align with virtuous living. Consider the scenario of receiving harsh feedback at work. Instead of reacting defensively, engage in mindful reflection. Step back and objectively assess the criticism. Is there truth to it? How does it make you feel? Why? By understanding your emotional response, you can address the feedback constructively, learn from it, and improve. In our daily lives, mindful reflection can be practiced through a simple evening routine. Take a few moments before bed to reflect on your day. What did you do well? Where did you fall short of your Stoic ideals? How can you improve tomorrow? This practice isn't about dwelling on the past, but rather learning from it to make better choices in the future. This strategy cultivates self-awareness and emotional intelligence, enabling us to respond to situations with clarity and virtue. It reminds us to pause and consider our values before acting impulsively, thus mastering our emotions and aligning our actions with our higher goals. Mindful reflection teaches us to recognize the space between stimulus and response, giving us the freedom to choose a response that is in harmony with our Stoic principles. It's about becoming an observer of your internal world, understanding your triggers, and managing your emotions proactively. By doing so, you can maintain tranquility and remain emotionally balanced even in the most challenging situations. The view from above is a technique used by Stoics to gain perspective on their lives and reduce the impact of troublesome emotions. It involves visualizing oneself from a higher vantage point, seeing the bigger picture, and recognizing the smallness of one's problems in the grander scheme of things. Imagine you're caught in a traffic jam, late for a meeting, and feeling the frustration bubble up inside. The view from above would have you picture this scene from high above the earth, seeing the gridlock as mere inches of movement on the planet's surface. From this perspective, your stress seems smaller, less significant in the vastness of the universe. In a broader application, this technique can be used to gain perspective on life's challenges. When overwhelmed with the pressures of work, family, or personal aspirations, imagine zooming out and seeing your life as one part of the intricate web of human existence. Each worry or setback is minuscule when viewed from the cosmos's expanse. This perspective not only minimizes our problems, but also enhances our sense of connection to others, fostering a sense of compassion and understanding. It reminds us that we are part of something larger and encourages a more balanced emotional response to what we might otherwise perceive as overwhelming. By regularly practicing the view from above, we can distance ourselves from the immediacy of our emotions and respond to life's challenges with a calm and reasoned approach, maintaining our mental equilibrium amidst the flux of life's trials. The contemplation of the sage is a Stoic exercise where you envision an ideal wise person or sage and consider how they would handle the situation you're facing. This technique serves as a guide to emulate the qualities and behaviors of someone who embodies Stoic virtues. For instance, if you're struggling with a difficult decision at work, you might think of a leader or philosopher you respect. Ask yourself, what would Marcus Aurelius do? How would Seneca view this challenge? By doing this, you focus on the attributes of wisdom, justice, courage, and temperance, which can lead you to a more virtuous and effective course of action. In your personal life, when facing anger or resentment, contemplate how a sage would rise above petty grievances. They would likely respond with understanding and empathy, looking for a resolution that promotes the common good without being swayed by negative emotions. This technique not only gives you a benchmark to strive for, but also provides a sense of comfort, knowing that others have faced similar challenges and overcome them with grace and virtue. It connects you to the wisdom of the ages and to the common humanity that we all share. Practicing the contemplation of the sage encourages you to step outside of yourself and your subjective experiences, offering a more objective and high-minded approach to whatever life throws your way. By doing so, you can transform your emotional responses, aligning them with Stoic principles and making them less disruptive to your peace of mind. In summary, the 8 Stoic strategies we've discussed can significantly influence how you master your emotions. Applying these principles can help you develop mental fortitude and emotional resilience. Practice them daily, reflect on their impacts, and remember the true test of Stoicism is in your actions, not just thoughts.